At this point, the speculation is all over. The Toronto Blue Jays at this year's MLB trade deadline will assuredly be sellers. For the first time in years, the Jays have a massive for sale sign on basically every single asset they own, and in the next couple weeks, there will be some blockbuster deals going down in Toronto. With so many moving parts, there are a lot of recent trade reports to keep track of, and in this video, we're going to talk about all of the latest Toronto Blue Jays news as we sit with just over a week to go to the trade deadline. Let's get straight into it, folks. So first things first, let's start with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladdy is the biggest piece that the Jays have and would obviously net them a massive return if they decided to move on from him, but at this point, the chances of a trade involving Vladimir Guerrero Jr. happening are slim to none. Mark Feinsand recently said, an all-star for the 4th straight season, Guerrero will be one of the most intriguing names to watch over the next 2 weeks. The slugger, who entered the break with 14 home runs, 55 RBIs, and an .815 OPS in 95 games, is under club control through the end of 2025, and while the Blue Jays have no plans to trade Guerrero at the moment, an overwhelming offer could make Toronto consider such a move. Now, even though he adds that line at the end there talking about some overwhelming offer, I really wouldn't be holding my breath for something like that to happen. As we get closer to the deadline, it's becoming increasingly clear that the Jays want to contend in 2025, or at least try to do so, and obviously if they were to do that, then Vladdy needs to stay put. The same level of thinking can also be applied to Blue Jays shortstop Bichette. Bichette has truly been having the season from hell, and even though he wouldn't be surprised if he got traded, I for one definitely would be. Ross has come out several times and said that trading Bo doesn't make any sense for the Jays at this point, and even though I could definitely see an argument for getting rid of him, as the season progresses, I do tend to agree with Ross. Right now, with the way that Bo is playing and also being injured, his value is so low that trading him away wouldn't net you nearly as much as you'd want in return. So even though I'd say that a Bichette trade is definitely more likely than a Guerrero trade, I wouldn't be holding my breath for that one either. One player who will assuredly get traded though is Yusei Kikuchi, and we're hearing that a potential landing spot for him could be the Minnesota Twins. MLB.com writes, according to The Athletic's Dan Hayes, Minnesota appears to have a particular interest in acquiring a rental starting pitcher. There's a limited market for such pitchers in 2024, but Hayes specifically mentions Blue Jays left-hander Yusei Kikuchi as a potential option. Flaherty, another pending free agent, could also be available. Kikuchi is the perfect trade candidate for the Toronto Blue Jays, and even though he wouldn't get you as much of a return as a Guerrero trade would, considering starting pitching is so limited at this year's trade deadline, you could get the Twins to pay a premium for him. It should also be noted that along with Minnesota, it was recently reported that the Astros have shown interest in not only just Yusei Kikuchi, but also Chris Bassitt and Kevin Gausman. Now, Kevin Gausman, I can safely say, isn't going anywhere. With the way that he's playing and the fact that he's got several years left on his contract, it just wouldn't make sense for anyone. Chris Bassitt, on the other hand, might be the one controllable player that the Jays have that we could see going somewhere else. John Heyman actually highlighted Toronto Blue Jays starting pitcher Chris Bassitt as a potential trade target for the Orioles. Of note, Heyman believes there's approximately a 14% chance of the Blue Jays trading Bassitt. Now, I have no idea where Heyman got this 14% number from, but to his credit, that does actually feel right around the odds for a Chris Bassitt trade happening. It is still very unlikely, but if the Jays did really want to cash in on getting some more prospects, then Bassitt would undeniably have a bunch of suitors wanting for him. Next, let's talk about Danny Jansen and the surprising team that is showing interest in him right now.
Whoa, time for your daily Betway breather. A quick reminder that the best place to bet is on Betway. Must be 19 years of age or older to play. In collaboration with iGaming Ontario, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
MLB Trade Rumors writes, the Cubs have expressed interest in Blue Jays catcher Danny Jansen, according to USA Today's Bob Nightingale. It's unclear how serious discussions between the sides have become at this point. Danny Jansen leaving the team would obviously be a dagger, but considering you don't have him signed to an extension right now, trading him away and getting some value back might be the best thing for the Blue Jays. I'm pretty surprised that the Cubs are the team to be showing interest considering where they are in the standings, but if they did actually want to ship off some prospects for him, then who am I to stop them? But folks, those are the most recent Toronto Blue Jays trade reports that are going on right now. We are going to be having a ton more of these update videos going on right up until the trade deadline. So if you enjoyed this one, please make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And as always, go Jays go.